to another edition of Staying Major. I am your host, Major Payne himself, Eric Menk. How is everybody today? I'm recording this in the morning. I'm not sure when you are listening to this or watching this, but I'd like to hope that everyone is well out there, surviving, kicking out positive vibes after last week being kind of a crazy week. Started about 10 days ago, the whole FIBA hosting the Aussie Boomers, and we are still awaiting the aftermath of all that. But I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in, listening, and watching. Those videos last week did very well. Even my second video, podcast where I talked just NBA, did surprisingly well. So thank you guys for listening. Get the word out there if you like this show. I try to, whenever I have time, whenever I can fit a pod in, I'm all over it. Like I said, I want to do these a little more frequently, want to get these a little bit shorter and cover a couple of topics. But before we get started today, I want to talk about one of our sponsors, A Game After Sport Rub Down. This is a sport-specific L cologne that A, smells great, B, women will love, and it is sport-specific, scientifically designed for your recovery, for your next workout. So, apply this after your workout. You're going to smell great. Your friends are going to wonder why you smell so great. The women are going to wonder, what is that guy wearing? Why is he way more attractive than he was before practice? It's because you are applying A Game After Sport Rub Down, and then you will be more refreshed and recovered for your next workout. So go to agamesport.com and use the promo code EMENK30 to get 20% off of your purchase. You will not regret it. I use it myself and I love it. I love it. And I've been working out lately and I've been worried about getting sore, and this has actually helped. So like I said, agamesport.com, promo code EMENK30, 20% off your purchase. Give it a try. Now, first thing I want to talk about today is Batang Gilas. They just concluded the FIBA 17 and under World Cup. And a couple of things happened out there. I believe it was out in, I want to say Russia. Maybe. I could be wrong on that. Russia's where the World Cup FIFA was, so I gotta be totally wrong on that. There's no way they had the basketball tournament and the soccer world or football World Cup out there, but I thought that's what it said. Anyway, Batang Gilas went 2-5, unfortunately, but they finished in 13th place. I personally don't think that was a bad finish for them. Realistically, one, it was very good that they qualified. It was also very good that they won a couple games. It's very good that they didn't finish 16th. So they got, honestly, they won one game by blowout over New Zealand. They barely beat a team by 1 point, and they lost a close game, I believe, to Argentina. And then the other 4 games they got handled pretty good by some good teams. So congratulations to Batang Gilas for winning their last 2 games, representing the country, going out there and bringing us pride, and finishing in the top in 13th. You know, so that might not sound great to most people, but if you look where Gilas is ranked in the world right now, the senior team, they're ranked 30th. So for them to finish 13th at 17 and under, that's actually pretty good, I think. I think that was a good showing. For them to win 2 games was an extremely, I thought that was a good achievement by them. They conducted themselves well out there, and we should all be very, very proud of the way they performed in the 17 and under World Cup. That is the world stage, and it was nice to see them go out there and represent. Phil, I did tweet this, and it got a lot of attention when the tournament concluded. The United States team totally ran away with the tournament. You know, Canada beat Gilas by, I want to say 40, and then the United States beat them by 50. They beat France in the title game by 20 plus. So they were by far the best team, and I don't know if he was their best player, but the guy that led them in scoring, the guy that won the MVP of the 17 and under or under 17 FIBA World Cup is a guy by the name of Jalen Green. Now, you might have heard of him before. I've talked about him before on this podcast. He's a guy that actually came to the Philippines a few months ago and was very, very impressive. He's one of the top players in the country for his age. When I say country, I mean the United States. He's one of the top 5 players. Some publications have him ranked number 1, and he is also Filipino-American. So, congratulations to Jalen Green. Our country, our basketball community is keeping an eye on him, but he looks to be the real deal. When you win the MVP of the 17 and under World Cup, you're pretty good. When you lead Team USA, the most dominating team in the tournament, lead them in scoring, and that's pretty impressive. So that's definitely a guy to look out for. But of course, the one guy I want to talk about here is our very own Kai Sotto, and talk about his tournament a little bit. One thing I realized was he was the MVP of the FIBA Asia World Cup qualifier, which I didn't know. He had a very good tournament there. He had maybe 2 games where he didn't play great. But he went going into the World Cup because he was the MVP of the Asia and because he's 7-1 and because he's 16. Team scouts were definitely looking at him. And I thought he had a solid tournament. If you look at his statistics, he played, his minutes were higher than most players, good players in the competition. Most good players are playing 20, 25 minutes. Like Jalen Green only played 20 minutes a game and still led them in scoring and was the MVP of the tournament. Kai Sotto was playing about 30 minutes a game, but he put up pretty good numbers. I think he was around 16 points per game. He was up around 11 rebounds, and he was about 2.5 block shots per game with decent percentages. So I thought that he played. First of all, the tournament was a great opportunity for all the guys on Batang Gilas. But it was also a very good opportunity for Kai Sotto to really get noticed and get on people's radar. Playing against real competition, guys his age, bigger competition from all around the world. So that was a great experience for him. The more you can expose him to that type of competition, the better, I think, will first, A, be able to assess his talent, and B, he'll be able to improve and get used to playing against bigger and better competition. But, yeah, so I thought he played solid. I don't think he dominated. He didn't play great in a sense to where he's automatically going to get on, this is going to sound silly being 16, but get on some big boards and talk about being a realistic NBA prospect. But I thought he played well enough to be on people's radar. And proof of that was after his second to last game, which was his best game. I want to say it was against Iran, where they won by 1 point. He had his best game. I think he had 27 and 18, had his best game. But Jonathan Givanni, formerly of Draft Express, now at ESPN, put out a tweet on him, which I happened to retweet and happened to comment on. But I want to take a look at that right now. But this, just to give you an idea of who Jonathan Givanni is, him and his buddy Mike Schmitz ran a website called Draft Express. I want to say they ran it for roughly about 10 years. And they became the forefront of independent scouting for the NBA draft. And I've talked about it before, how much I love the NBA draft. So, of course, I knew what Draft Express was. They put out great videos. They had a great website. I follow the NBA draft, so I definitely follow Draft Express. I follow NBADraft.net. I used to follow a guy named Chad Ford. He used to work for ESPN. He used to be their insider. I love all the stuff they put out. And now, recently, The Ringer, they have a great, maybe 6 months, 4 to 6 months leading up to the draft. They have great coverage. Everybody's got a mock. Everyone's got a big board. Everyone's got a mock draft. But I would say Draft Express was number one. They did so well that ESPN ended up buying them. And now anything that you hear about the NBA draft on ESPN is pretty much coming from Jonathan Givanni or Mike Schmitz. So that's why this is important. So I'm going to read his tweet. His tweet was, first live look at much hyped 7'1", 16-year-old Kai Sotto from the Philippines. Easy to see the talent, but also how far he has to go in terms of toughness, intensity, strength, and polish. Hasn't had a great tournament so far. Will have to find the right place to develop long term. Quote unquote. Tweet from Jonathan Givanni. So one, if Jonathan Givanni is tweeting about you and he's saying that you have talent, that is a huge plus. That you're on the radar now, international radar. You're on the radar in the United States. Okay? He's tweeting about you. He says you have talent. That's a huge plus. That's a huge that he was looking at you. Okay? Not a lot of people have the size, have the talent to potentially be an NBA player or have the athletic ability. Him saying that you have that talent, him taking a look at you, him tweeting about you, puts you on the map, basically. So I cannot stress enough I don't want to say the importance, but who Jonathan Givanni is. In my opinion, this is year-round job. His year-round full-time job is to scout talent for the NBA draft. He was physically at that tournament. So when you're doing these traveling to follow players, he's beyond intense, probably the best at what he does in the world. So, or at least in the United States. So that was great. That was awesome to see that. I was fired up for him to say that because I retweeted it with a quote. This is something that I have talked about 4 months leading up. I did 3 videos and talked about Kai on 3 other podcasts. So we're going to talk about it a little bit here. And some of the things that he stressed are exactly the things that I stressed. So it makes me feel good that I'm on the right track. I also got a little wink because I mentioned that 4 months before he did. Well, I got to see him play a little bit more than Jonathan has. So while it is easy to see, and it's also you're starting to get to see what kind of player Kai Sotto is now. The more you get to see him play, the more you get to see him play against better competition. Right now, he's not a physical presence. I don't think at this moment right now, he is going to be a rim protector. Of course, he's 7'1". He's going to block some shots. Out in the Philippines, he's going to block a lot of shots. He's not he's a pretty solid rebounder, but I would say he's more of a finesse player. He's got decent touch in the mid-range. He's able to make shots that are outside of 4 feet pretty consistently. So he's got a very nice touch, and he's more of a finesse player. But I want to stress here, and there's a lot of things. Man, he's 16. Toughness, intensity, strength, and polish. Not very many people are up at par, at NBA par, in any of those categories at 16. So there's not a problem there. I've heard a lot of guys talk about his strength because he is very, very thin, and I've said this before. I am not at all worried about his physique yet because, he's 16, he's 7'1". Of course he's going to be thin. He's going to be thin, hopefully. And one thing that is very, very obvious, and I hope that they're taking care of this, I don't know anything about his training, but I would invest a lot of time, effort, and resources in not just strength and conditioning, but also speed and agility, because I think all those are important. And if you get with the right guy and you work with him enough, he should be able to get your body right. And he is still growing into his body. So I think over time he will get stronger, but he has to put in the time, effort, and commitment to do that. So that's obvious, but I'm not that concerned about it. Now, in 3 years, if he still looks like that, that might be a concern. Or if you hear he's not working on it, that would be a concern. But I want to stress the very last sentence here that Hebe says in his tweet, Jonathan Givanni from ESPN, will have to find the right place to develop long term. That's what I've been saying the whole time. These people, you know what I'm sick of hearing? I'm sick of hearing the Chat Reyes quote of no Filipino player has gone to the U.S. and gotten better. I've said this before on the podcast. I'm going to say it again. When you say that, you're talking about basically two people. Two people that I'm aware of. There's been a couple more, but a few years ago, I don't know how many, a decade ago, we were talking about Japeth Aguilar. Let me explain something about Japeth Aguilar, his situation. He was averaging 5.5 points a game in the UAAP. Well, when you're averaging 5.5 points per game in the UAAP, and then you go to mid-major Division I college basketball in the States, it's probably not going to go well. He went in over his head. He went in to a bad situation. That's why he didn't get better. He also had injury problems. Okay? So, he probably should have either not left the Philippines, because by no means was he dominating, or by no means was he way better than the competition. Or if he went to the States, he probably should have went to a low Division I, or he should have went to a very good Division II program, somewhere where he could get some confidence offensively and get more court time for his development. But that didn't happen, so he went into a bad situation. He wasn't prepared for that situation. Therefore, he didn't have a great couple years there. And he got injured, so he didn't have a great couple years there at Western Kentucky. Came back. Kobe Paras. Kobe Paras was a hell of a prospect when he was 14, 15. Doesn't look to me like he's got... The reason he was a good prospect is because he was 6'5", 6'6". He had a strong body. He could make outside shots, and he could jump out of the gym. Well, he hasn't improved very much since then. That's all I can say. He got a scholarship, didn't play. You're right. He hasn't gotten better. So we have two situations here. So when somebody tries to indicate to me that nobody has went to the States and gotten better, I would argue that, one, do you think Kai Sotto is a better prospect than Japeth Aguilar and Kobe Paras? I would assume that answer is yes. So just because those two guys didn't make it doesn't mean that Kai Sotto won't make it or improve. One of the main reasons why I suggest that he goes outside of the Philippines to train full time is because of his size. He has to seek out playing against guys that are near his size and guys that are better basketball players and better athletes. So, is he a better prospect than Japeth Aguilar and Kobe Paras? I think so. And if nobody has done it, if I'm Kai Sotto, why can't he be the first one? Why can't he be the first one to do it? He's got the size. According to Jonathan Givanni, he has talent. He has to improve on a couple things. And he can do that. There's not a knock against the coaching here. And I understand the UAAP seniors, they have foreign players that are big and athletic. But I just think as a whole, I have no problem with it. And when I'm talking about this in a few years. And I'm not saying he's got to go to the United States. Like, hopefully, I don't know what the FIBA schedule is, but hopefully now that the 17 and under is done, they can play in a qualifier for the under 18. And if he can, the more of these tournaments that he can play in is great, but somehow he has to find a way, just like he said, to seek out competition and try a place long term to where he can develop. Where can he develop toughness, intensity, strength, and polish. Yes, he can work on his strength here. His toughness and intensity and polish is only going to come against stiffer competition. Let me explain something here. Anybody that you're inspired by, almost anybody that has made it, I think we look at Kai Sotto, and he's a source of inspiration for a lot of us, the basketball community. Everybody wants to see a local Filipino or even a Fil-Am. We have a lot of pride in Jordan Clarkson making the NBA, even though Jordan Clarkson had never been here before making the NBA, right? So we all were hoping Kobe Paras would make the NBA. Why? Because he's from here and he's Filipino. He can make the NBA. Same thing with Japeth Aguilar or whoever you want to name. We'd have a lot of pride in Bobby Ray Parks. He played in the UAAP and was born here. Maybe he could make it. But Kai Sotto brings us a sense of pride, a sense of hope that he can make the NBA, somebody that we can be proud of. But if you look at people that become great or achieve a breakthrough, they all have to overcome adversity at some point in time. You can go through, you want to talk about, you can go through almost any sport, but you can go through Michael Jordan. What 7 years in a row, he didn't make the finals or win a championship for 7 years. Got swept a couple times, got beat up by the Pistons. He had to overcome adversity. LeBron James has probably been the biggest front runner in the history of basketball. He's been great since he was 15. But remember his second trip to the finals? Remember his first trip when he got swept? Remember when they lost to Dallas when they were heavily favored and he played terrible, probably the worst series of his NBA career? Remember the Boston series, his last series, the first time around against Cleveland? Remember all the hate that he went through when he left Cleveland the first time? They have to overcome tough times to have that breakthrough, to learn to break through. You can talk about almost any sport. You watch a movie, right? You watch a movie, Rocky. Look at one of the great inspirational stories. Any type of movie is going to be, that's good. A good story is going to be the journey, the struggle, the setback, maybe the multiple setbacks, and then the breakthrough to greatness. That's inspiring stuff. Being the best player, the biggest player in the UAAP juniors, I'm not sure what adversity he's going to come across playing there. Now, they lost a bunch of games in these tournaments to better teams, so that's a little bit of adversity. They didn't win FIBA Asia 17-0. That's a little bit of adversity, but the more you can play against competition, the more you're going to find out how good you are, the more you're going to be able to push and challenge yourself. Now, this is all based on, I don't know Kai. I don't know his mental makeup. I know he's 16. He's very young, so he's got a long way to go to become an adult, to become a man. But you would like to see him, how he reacts. I don't know what he wants. I said this before, but I can tell you right now, he's going to be a very good PBA player. Right now, very good PBA player. That's in the bank. That's unless he gets injured. That's in the bank. That's in the back pocket no matter what. But does he push to want more than that? I don't know. But if he does, and the people around him do, and the Philippines does, well, then maybe they're going to have to sacrifice a little bit. Maybe for a couple years he won't be able to play for Gilas. But when he comes back, when he's 23, 22, he can really, he might be able to help Gilas even more. Maybe he'll be in the NBA by then. Maybe not. The odds of making the NBA are very, very slim. You have to be a very unique talent and athlete to make the NBA. So if he's on the radar of Jonathan Givanni, not a lot of people get good enough to even get on his radar. So if you're on his radar, maybe you're not a surefire first round pick right now. But if you're on his radar, you have a chance. You have a chance that not a lot of people have. And I don't know if he wants that chance. Maybe he's a homebody. You know, I thought Junmar Fajardo a few years ago had that chance. Well, he was from Cebu. It was a really big thing for him to come here and play for Manila, play in Manila. He didn't want to leave Manila. He didn't want to take that chance. That's okay. That's fine. I'm not saying that everybody's different. Everybody has different wants and desires for their career. I understand that not everybody has, but I think that most people are hoping, hey, this guy has a chance at the NBA. Maybe he should go for it. And if he does, I know he's 16, and I know the people at Ateneo, not Antoneo, Ateneo corrected it this time, want to keep him around. I've even heard people say, oh, he's not good enough. He's not going to make it in the United States. I personally think if he does go to the United States, if he does go to college, he should go to a big-time school because he's 7'1". He doesn't have to go to a mid-major. He doesn't have to go to Division II. He should go to a big school. Right? But I've heard people try to hold him back. One being, oh, nobody's ever made it in the United States or gotten better, so don't go there. Or, he's soft and he's thin and he's not tough enough yet. So he should just stay here and help Ateneo win. Or he should just stay here so he can play in these tournaments and represent Gilas. Okay, but if you want aspirations for him to make the NBA, then he's going to have to go outside of his comfort zone, and he's going to have to challenge himself, and he's going to have to experience some adversity and overcome that. So that's a bit of my rant. Just wanted to talk about that today. That's it. In the end, we wish him the best. We want him to do the best. We want him to make us proud. We want to see him. It would be cool to see him just do well wherever he's at. And I think right now he's automatically going to be a good UAAP seniors player, without question. I can tell you that right now. Unless he gets injured, that's in the back pocket. That's in the bank right now. But I'm all for, I love inspiring stories. I love guys that are willing to take a risk, take a chance, and to go for it. So I thought he had a good tournament. Again, congratulations to Batang Gilas for getting 2 wins in the World Cup. Congratulations to Jalen Green for winning the MVP of the tournament. And that's all. Please, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your comments on the Kai Sotto situation. I think these next few years are very, very important. 16 to 19, 16 to 20. It's 4 years. I know it sounds like a long time, but it's really not. To be the best you can be, to push yourself, to fulfill your potential, you have to work very hard. You have to do things right. You have to play against the right competition. Those years of development are what bond the wiring of your basketball DNA. So those years are very important. So I'd like to talk about a couple of our sponsors as well. ExpressHoops.ph. If you're looking to book a basketball court in Metro Manila, go to ExpressHoops.ph and book a basketball court there. You can see rates, times, schedules, and book right there. And if you do, use the coupon code STAYINMAJOR to win a prize at from this podcast. Staying Major is also brought to you by ericmenk.com/shop. I got it wrong last week. It's not store. It's ericmenk.com/shop. Go there. Check it out. We have this t-shirt right here, the official ericmenk.com Major Pain logo t-shirt. They are going fast. My larges are completely sold out, but we have some available. We even have some podcast t-shirts, Staying Major podcast t-shirts available. So I'd appreciate it if you go there, check out the shop at ericmenk.com and purchase a t-shirt, rep the podcast, rep the website, bringing this material to you for free and spread the word. Let people know that there is a podcast in the Philippines talking about Philippine basketball specifically, coming at you at least once a week, sometimes twice, and I hope to pick it up even more in the future. So please, ericmenk.com/shop, pick up a vintage t-shirt. Your friends are going to be jealous. They're going to wonder where you got it, and you can tell them at ericmenk.com/shop. So, that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Please, if you like what you hear here, go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast and give me a positive review. Check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/theemenk30. Subscribe. More podcasts. All my podcast videos are up on that page or on that channel. And also my vlog, emenk30 TV. There's 96 episodes of that and a couple classic games. So going to continue to pump out content there. So go there, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get updated on everything. My Facebook page, facebook.com/emenk30, is up to 28,500 followers. If you haven't liked that page, go there, like it. You can see all my podcasts, vlogs, and appearances will all go up there. So join that community. There's going to be news coming up, so you can stay up to date by following and liking that page. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll be back very, very soon. Again, I'd love to hear your feedback, whether it be on the comments in the YouTube video or at Twitter @StayingMajor or on when I post this on Facebook. I love hearing your comments, good or bad. Let me know what you think about Kai Sotto. Y'all take care out there. Spread the positive vibes. Keep your fingers crossed on the FIBA ruling coming up probably very, very soon. Until next time, I am Eric Menk, and this has been Staying Major. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face right here. Don't forget to check out the important links in the description below, and for more Staying Major, click on the video over there. We'll see you next time.